Hello, and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News, your twice-weekly dose of the finest 2A propaganda. New Jersey, that perennial symbol of individual liberty and competent governance, is pushing for microstamping again, and they don't care if it's even possible.
Like Alice, I try to believe 3 impossible things before breakfast.
The Attorney General's office just settled on standards for guns to be included in their microstamping roster, or at least they say they established some standards in their press release, but they forgot to tell us where we could locate those standards. Whatever the standards are, once any gun makes it on the roster, all New Jersey gun shops will be required to carry at least one gun which is on that roster. The idea is you etch a unique code into the tip of a firing pin and it stamps that code into the primer of every round fired. There's just one problem. Doesn't work. In a peer-reviewed study commissioned by the DOJ, researchers weren't even able to reliably get legible impressions under controlled conditions. Carbon buildup and normal wear interferes even more, and all of that is assuming a crook wouldn't just kiss the tip of the firing pin with a nail file. I mean, that's what I would do, hypothetically, in Minecraft.
What if, and believe me, this is so hypothetical.
And what if I want to replace the firing pin? Will aftermarket firing pins be illegal in New Jersey? Or does that mean I can just order a firing pin with the code on it that I want? And if that's the case, then what's even the point? But it would be impossible for us to produce quality 2A propaganda without sponsors. So before I tell you the ATF's plan to consider all semi-auto firearms as machine guns, let's pay some bills. Today's video is sponsored by Springfield Armory's new Echelon with universal optic mounting plate and modular central operating group. You can get all the gory details on our new review channel when you're done here.
New for 2023 is the Springfield Echelon. This striker-fired polymer frame pistol features Springfield's new variable interface system for mounting multiple optic footprints and the serialized cog fire control for inserting into multiple frames. Find out more at springfield-armory.com.
And by TNVC.com, your source for good old-fashioned all-American night vision just like Mom used to make. And by Gunstock, a 2-day festival of peace and guns in Waxahachie, Texas. Come hang out with me September 23rd and 24th and make some pews, eat some food, and enjoy some music. An attorney for the light side of the force, Stephen Stambalia, is suing the Department of Justice for thumbing their nose at a FOIA request filed by David Codrea, who writes for AmmoLand. Part of Hunter Biden's infamous plea deal included voluntary entry into NICS, which is something we've seen the feds pressure people into doing outside of court proceedings. So Mr. Codrea wanted to find out if the DOJ is pressuring people into giving up their constitutional rights, even if they weren't guilty of serious crimes. If a son of a Biden like Hunter can be pressured into giving up his rights, then what would happen if a plebe like you or me found himself staring down the barrel of a prison sentence? I can see why the DOJ is dragging its heels. Florence DeMonico, president of Rare Breed Triggers, posted an update on their case with the ATF, which reveals F-Troop seems to be angling to redefine all semi-auto firearms as machine guns. The 1934 National Firearms Act defines a machine gun in part as a device which fires more than one shot for a single function of the trigger. The feds have never liked this definition and have been seeking to broaden it and circumvent it since the very beginning. They've tried several different angles to get what they want, and now they're using this phrase, constant rearward pressure, in their court filings. And that's a problem because if the court were, for some reason, to swallow this line, it would apply to practically any self-loading firearm because every one of them can be fired without releasing the trigger. One of the keys to good marksmanship, in fact, is to allow the trigger to move forward just far enough to reset without ever actually releasing pressure on the trigger. You should apply just enough pressure, the trigger breaks, then reduce the pressure from your trigger finger just enough to allow the trigger to move forward. What that means is you are applying more pressure and less pressure, but never actually releasing. So in other words, you are applying constant rearward pressure. Another disturbing development is that ATF got a list of Rare Breed customers from the Postal Service without a warrant or a subpoena. They basically just said, "Hey fam, do us a solid," and they got what they wanted. This sort of gross disregard for the Fourth Amendment is unfortunately something we're probably going to see a lot of in the coming years. So, if you want to help Rare Breed and help all of us to fight the power, please visit the donation link down there in the doobly-doo and flip a few quatloos to the National Foundation for Gun Rights. One of the most frustrating aspects about the gun rights fight is watching various governments violate constitutional rights, lose in court, and face no consequences whatsoever for their actions. But Washington, D.C. just settled for $5.1 million for violating the rights of 6 people who were arrested under D.C.'s unconstitutional gun laws. Each of them will get $300,000, the lawyers will get $1.9 million, and the remaining $1.4 million will be split between the thousands of people who qualify for the class action. I know $5 million isn't a lot when you routinely spend $20 billion of other people's money, but it's encouraging to see at least some form of consequence, however mild it may be. Without it, there's literally no reason for authoritarians to even think twice about enforcing laws they know are unconstitutional. A 12-year-old Colorado student was kicked out of school for having a Gadsden patch on his backpack, and the school administration is doubling down on the stupid. They claim the flag has its origins in the slave trade. As you good folks are well aware, the Gadsden flag has its roots in the Revolutionary War and has no connection with slavery whatsoever. It's not uncommon for some school administrator to take a hard line against some poor kid for political reasons, but normally, some sane person in the organization steps in and walks things back. Not this time, though. The school obstinately maintains that Steppy Sneck is a racist symbol. I mean, I'm sure some sister-diddling racist hillbillies do like the Gadsden flag, but the Klan likes crosses and Hitler drank water. Are we going to ban everything which has ever been used by a racist? What about that generic floral pattern blouse you got at Ross, Karen? Racists wear floral patterns too. Maybe we should ban that. If you folks think it is stupid and painfully ironic for a learning institution to display such profound ignorance of history, you can reach them at 719-471-1999. Or you can email the school's operations director at jeffyoakum@thevanguardschool.com. And now, for your moment of Zen. Friends, do you like pews and other pew-related things? Would you like to help us keep delivering you pure, good American pew-propaganda at the low, low price of free fitting? We literally couldn't pay the bills without our sponsors, so do us a solid and get yourself something nice from them. You deserve it. I love you.